Islam, if there is anything lovely, if there is anything desirable, if there's anything within the reach of man that is worthy of praise, is it not knowledge? And yet, who is it that obtaineth it? The statesman proclaimeth that he have it. The ruler of the people claimeth the praise of it. But findeth the subject that he possesses it. Evil is not requisite to man, neither vice can be necessary to be tolerated. Yet how many evils are committed by the convenience of the laws? How many crimes committed by the decree of the council? But be wise, O rulers, and learn, O thou who art to command the nations. One crime authorized by thee is worse than the escape of 10 from punishment. End of quote. At this time, I'd like to recite the Moorish American prayer because this is the source from which I draw my strength. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. First off, I'd like to rise, circling the camel's hump, which symbolizes endurance, giving praise to Allah, the author, the creator, the governor of the world, almighty, eternal, and incomprehensible, the one who stretches forth the heaven with his hands, who have described with his fingers the courses of the stars, who set it bounds to the ocean that it cannot pass, and said to the stormy winds, be still. I'd like to give honor to the lily of the valley, the bright and morning star, talking about none other than our holy and illustrious prophet, Noble Drew Ali. I'd like to give honor to Prophet Noble Drew Ali because it was he who reached down into the watery grave of hatred, slander, lewdness, murder, theft, Negro, colored, black, and everything that harmed to set you and me back upright on our feet again. I'd like to give honor to the forerunner to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, the Maroon Mo, Marcus Mosai Garvey. I'd like to have us to give this brother honor because he must have pure thoughts in order to pave the way for love. I'd like to give honor to all of those and honor to all of you that have and will aid and assist us in this, our divine and gigantic mission, the uplifting of fallen humanity. And last but not least, I'd like to give a special honor to effort because so many of us don't even try. At this time, I'd like to read from the Moorish Holy Quran, the book of the seven seals that none was able to open, and read from its sacred pages the messages of purity and love. But before I read from the Moorish Holy Quran, yesterday at the temple, where the brother named Dominic Carter Bay from Virginia, and this brother was in the military along with me because we did some of the same things in the military. And he have a good character. You know, in chapter 5, when you were talking about Jesus, and when Jesus was talking about the tools of the workshop of the mind, where things are made of thought and where you build up character, well, this is what chapter 5 is talking about. It's talking about the tools of the workshop of the mind. It's talking about the hammer that we must use to build the temple. But the strange part about it is, when Noble Drew Ali be talking to us, he was telling us that you're talking about the tools of the workshop of the mind, but you can't use a hammer when it's time to use the saw. You can't use the saw when it's time to use the plane. So when we talking about building a house and the tools are the workshop of the mind, you must apply the proper tool at the proper time. So what I want to do right now is, the brother, yesterday was the 4th, October the 4th. Brother Dominic Carter Bay, he's just receiving his nationality card. And this is what is read on our nationality card. See, because he in Portland, even when I first got here, like I met about 20 brothers, 20 sisters, and they all had went down to the courthouse. And when they went down to the courthouse, they went down to the courthouse to get their paperwork. And when they went down there to get their paperwork, after they got their paperwork and I was talking to them, I said, will you give him brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came? And the answer was, some of the great fathers through which Jesus came are Abraham, Boaz by Ruth, Jesse, King David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Joseph by Mary. And when they could not give me that, and that's one of the ways that you explain the prophet to others, I knew that something was wrong. And the only way that you can get a nationality card is through the Moorish Science Temple of America. So I like to read from our nationality card. It says, Islam, unity, Allah. It says, this is your nationality and identification card for the Moorish Science Temple of America and birthrights for the Moorish Americans, etc. We honor all the divine prophets, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius. May the blessings of the God of our Father Allah be upon you that carry this card. I do declare that you are a Muslim under the divine laws of the Holy Quran of Mecca. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. I am a citizen of the USA. Noble Jew Ali, the prophet. So I just read that, and the brother just proclaimed his nationality yesterday. Matter of fact, we was up at the Jamaican house when he did it. And I want to start before I read this chapter. And I want to go to Act 6 of our divine constitution and bylaws. And the reason why I want to go to our divine constitution and bylaws, because in this chapter, you're going to hear the prophet talking to us about nationality. We're going to talk about nationality because the reason why Noble Jew Ali had to talk to us about nationality, because all of the children my age, I'm talking about 75 and over, 73, 74, 75 and over, all of those remember when we were not Negroes. The word was not used. Then when I moved on up to another grade in school, they told me that I was colored. And Noble Jew Ali gave us lessons on all that because he said Negro is a name given to a river in West Africa by Moors because it contained black water. And he had to tell us that because when the slave trade in 1711, when the Moors went into Spain to give Europe civilization, we had a nationality. We were Moors. Truth don't change. Man today is what his forefathers were yesterday. And there's no one who is able to change man from the decent nature of his mother and father unless his power extends beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. Now, Drew Ali had to come back again. He said, you ain't colored either. He said, because colored is anything that has been painted, stained, varnished, or dyed. And then 68 come about. And when 68 come about, this is when our great brother Martin Luther King, he was talking about the civil rights issue. But Drew Ali told us that civil rights is a non-political issue. Civil rights is not even an issue that you could take to the UN. He said if we were 3/5 of a man, it's only because 2/5 was missing. And 5/5 is the whole all day. So when Allah sent Noble Drew Ali, see what I'm saying to you is this. When Noble Drew Ali came, there was nobody else here talking about Islam. Nobody. I had to teach the brother that yesterday. Nobody was talking about Islam. You wasn't talking about Islam until Noble Drew Ali came to bring us the 5/5. The 5/5 is the 2/5 that's missing. 5/5 make you a whole. So Drew Ali brought us Act 6 of our divine constitution and bylaws. And this is how it sounded in my ear. He said, with us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government, and know that they're not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now. And all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. The only black flag I know is the one that killed roaches. Nationality is the order of the day. Man today is what his forefathers were yesterday. So if your father was a Moor or Moorish descent yesterday, truth don't change. Through the advent of flavor, all that changed. Even Jesus. When they buried Jesus in Vatican Square and took on his name, that's who they buried, you and me. I taught a lesson yesterday to the people, and we was talking about Mary, Jesus' mother. And they called Mary the Jewish girl. So now, if Mary was a Jewish girl yesterday, truth don't change, because you know what? In all the world, there are but two things. One is Asia, and one is Europe. There was a time when the whole world was called Asia. Now you have European and you have Asiatic. Truth don't change. But now there's two different formulations of Asiatic and European. But now you look at a lot of Europeans, even Kamala Harris's husband. When you look at a lot of Europeans, look at them. They're Germans. They're some of them other Slavic nations. Look at them. You done took that birthright. You think that just because during the advent of slavery, you just gonna put me in a chain and don't work some other myths that's made of fleeting winds? Drew Ali gave it to us, but let me tell you something. When Allah sent Noble Drew Ali to redeem us from our sinful ways, he brought us a methodology that's conducive to our growth and our development. Drew Ali did all of the paperwork. He did all of the paperwork that you and I are still going here, there, and everywhere, talking about we trying to do, but the prophet already done it. All you need to do is just learn what the prophet bought us. Start applying what the prophet bought us. Because right now, we talking about east, west, north, south, but we got to start right there at the slave trade. Just like they say, the Moors fought with the Ottoman Turks in 1453 to restore the Islamic creed, but at 1453, we were still in Spain. The slave trade hadn't even come yet, but we fought with the Ottoman Turks to restore the Islamic creed, just like this. The brother coming into the temple is a lesson I want to give him. He already got it, though, because I gave him 100 of them. You see this picture here? And on the back of the Quran, they talk about the uniting of Asia, being we're talking about Asia. And a lot of brothers do it for different reasons. They change the pictures of the prophet and everything. But when you look at the head of the holy city of Mecca, he's sitting for a particular reason the way that he's sitting. And when Drew Ali sitting the same way, but the only difference is his hands is one way and Drew Ali's hands is another way. But when him and Drew Ali united and pressed the hands of unity, that was the uniting of Asia, because you have to understand everything comes through the advent of slavery. If you want to talk about the genealogy, because let's start right here in Spain. I told you Morocco got its independence March 2nd, 1956, from under the French rule, but who is ruling now? If they was under the French rule before, who is in charge now? And these are some of the things that Noble Drew Ali brought us, because Allah had to send him. If we wouldn't have lost our nationality, it wouldn't have been no need for Noble Drew Ali, because we already had 6 or 4 and needed one more to make us whole. But because we lost our nationality, and our divine creed, because let me explain this. When we're talking about this Bible, and it's taking you a lot of ways that you shouldn't be going, because Drew Ali gave it back to us. They took this. Now let's go look in Europe. Be for real. Ain't no European. They was up in the wood, wheat and hay. That's all they had up in the woods, up in the hills. They wasn't into no religion. They done took that from somebody, tried to make it their own and looking crazy with it, and changed some things in it. But Europe was not into religion. You talking about Mary, you talking about Joseph, and that's why the prophet told us about Lot. He said Lot is the son of Haran. Haran, then Abel is the son of Terah. Terah is the son of Reu. Reu is the son of Pelah. Pelah is the son of Eber. Eber is the son of Salah. Salah is the son of Arphaxad, and Arphaxad is the son of Shem, and Noah had 3 sons, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. We didn't say Japheth, because when you talk about Japheth, you're talking about the European nations. And when you talk about Shem, you're talking about the Japanese and the Vietnamese. And when you talk about Ham, you're talking about me. Because, see, Abraham wasn't always Abraham. He first was Abram, and then he became Abraham. He became Abraham when he found grace in the eyes of God. Just like my brother who's joining the temple, just joined the temple. What I like about him is he gonna hold fast to Allah's unchanging hand, because he know about Jesus. He know about Mary. And before you try to learn some Arabic or anything, learn about Mary and Joseph right now. See, because when Drew Ali came to redeem you and me from our sinful ways, he said, what is your nationality? He said, Moorish American. He said, why are you Moorish American? He said, because we are descendants of Moroccans and born in America. We said, well, who are these Moroccans then? He said, they're the biblical sons and daughters of Noah, one of the 3 sons of Ham, according to the biblical scripture. This is why we're Hamitic, by decent nature, by the way of Lot. So we talking about Lot, and we said Lot had 2 daughters. These are the lessons that we got to go look at and study, because Drew Ali gave us this. Drew Ali told us one thing. He said, learn your 101 questions. That's what he told us. He said, because when you learn your 101 questions, that's the 101. That's the 101. The high over the low, the rich over the poor, the wise over the ignorant, and truth over falsehood. That's your 101. Then he gave us the divine constitution and bylaw. He gave us divine constitution and bylaw, and we got additional laws in our 101 questions. He said, learn these things. He said, I brought you everything that it take to save a nation. Now take it and save yourself. I told the brother just yesterday, I said, man, I'm still trying to learn these 101 questions, and I've been in the Moorish Temple of America 50 years. And when I come in the Moorish Temple of America, my family was in the church real heavy. And as a little boy, I'm sitting up in there crazy, but I had to be there, but all that stuff went into me. And that helped me when I was into the preparation centers, etc. So we have to look at what Drew Ali bought, because we have additional laws, we have other properties that Noble Drew Ali bought us, and you got to get into it. But you ain't got to do nothing that. Go on there. Go on social media and learn something from them other dudes, but get into the biblical scriptures. I see the brother now got books out now. They coming out with the prophet and things, just like unto D.I. Grant. See? Because, see, you got to understand that when you look into these Moorish Quran, there's only a few chapters that the Holy Prophet bought, because he was a member of the Egyptian Adat. It was only certain chapters that Drew Ali bought. The rest of them is Akistic Records, which is Universal Mind. And this is what he brought to you and me, because it's all yours anyway. Hey, Rome took it. You done buried my Jesus. You did it in the 15th century. In 1492 is when the slave trade ended, but a few years later, 1500, this is when everybody talking about how you buried Jesus. You done took on Jesus. You done took his name. You done took his mother's name. Now, I don't care, he got a million different names, whatever you want to call it. But right now we saying Jesus, because Jesus means justice. And justice is dealing upright, equal, and fair. So we're dealing with that right now. And the only reason why we're dealing with that right now is because the slave trade came through us. So you got to listen to this. I don't care who you are. The slave trade came through the Moors. The Moors fell in 1492. 15th century is when Christianity got its rise, because prophet said that the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. He said it was the Roman nations that founded the first church, of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoking law. What is the Roman yoking law? The customs, the culture, the heritages, and the traditions of the European people. So now what I want to do is I want to read a chapter of the week. And the chapter that I'm going to read from this evening is the beginning of Christianity. And this is a good lesson for me to read. It's a good lesson because, you know, I was home not too long ago, right there in Washington, D.C., and I went by a barber shop. And I went by a barber shop, and known as the barber shop was Bernard's barber shop. And Bernard was in there, but we had something in common, because in our neighborhood, Bernard's mother passed form. And when she passed, they had the funeral at Isle of Patmos Baptist Church. But the founder of Isle of Patmos Baptist Church was Hilliard Simonton. And his wife's name was Charlotte Simonton, but before she was Charlotte Simonton, she was Charlotte Pittman, my mother's sister. So they was into this religious thing real tough. And as a child, I had to put up with it. It was an honor, because that's how they were. So this sister here, they was in the church, but one thing that they knew for some kind of reason, just like my aunt Mabel, who is cousin Ruth's mother, they're over there with Daddy Grace, they knew something. They knew something about Mary. They knew that Mary's mother's name was Anna. They knew this. But a lot of times things are taken away from you to move you away from who you are, because you are who your forefathers were. You talking about religion now. And when you talking about religion, you into the spiritual world. That's why Drew Ali bought us too. He bought us nationality and divine creed. Divine creed is our spirituality. And we got to get back to the spirit, because a lot of times, let me read this chapter first. And the reason why I want to read this chapter is because I see a lot of brothers in this chapter. You know, I'm from Washington, D.C., and a lot of brothers that was from Washington, D.C., that was in the Moorish Science Temple of America. But a lot of them was under adverse conditions. But when they got under certain adverse conditions, they tried to change their life. Because you can't serve two masters at the same time. You tell me you's a Mo, but you more wrong. You more Negro, color than black, than everything else. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to read this chapter first because I'm on the road, man. We talking about the beginning of Christianity. But I just stopped here because my aunt and them were some good people. They loved God. They did the best that they could. And they say that they was Christians. But the principles are with them. But the principles are not yours and mine. But right then, it didn't make a difference what they called it. They just knew that they had to live according to the same principles that their mothers and fathers lived upon. And those principles made them look great in the eyes of others because of their character. And I told you the tools of the workshop of the mind where things are made of thought and where we build up character. So Drew Ali brought us character. He brought us character. And the way that he brought us character is because he sung a song to us. And the song that Drew Ali sang to us was known as Great Change. And in this song, Great Change, he said the things I used to do, the places I used to go, the friends I used to have, I don't have no more because there's been a great change since I've been born. So before we can even go out to try to teach the everlasting gospel to the sons of men, we first must be born again ourselves. You keep looking for somebody to tell you something, what more you need to know. Drew Ali brought us our basic foundation. He said, learn this, study this, and you'll make yourself approved. Man can't serve two masters at the same time, so you know you got to crush one under thy feet and tame the other to thy purpose. And for what purpose was the Moorish Temple of America founded? For the uplifting of fallen humanity. And how did the prophet begin to uplift the Moorish America? By teaching them to be themselves. Well, who are you then? I'm Asiatic Muslim. Why am I Asiatic Muslim? Ain't but two formulations, Asiatic and European. And I'm showing European and I'm Muslim because I submit my will to Allah. So now let's read this Christianity thing here. It said the foundation of Christianity began in Rome. The Roman nation found the first church of whom crucified Jesus of Nazareth for seeking to redeem his people from under the Roman yoke and law. You see what I'm talking about? They done took your Jesus. They done took my Jesus. And just like my family taught me, they done took Mary, Jesus' mother, and Jesus' grandmother. They look at all them, and all them was Jews. Now, one of the things during the advent of slavery, you changing the paperwork. Now you the Jew. Now you the Jew, and I'm the European. Because you got me acting like a European. I'm acting like a European every day. There was a time when we worship under our own vine and fig tree, but now we're European. Everybody on the news now about all that stuff that's going on under the covers of other things with the raps and everybody else, but that's nothing but what Europe do. You become a part of the European concepts and ideology because you are not worshiping under your own vine and fig tree. Worship under your own vine and fig tree and get into the prophet's lesson because this is the only way that our people is going to be redeemed from their sinful ways. And Drew Ali said it is a sin for any group of people to violate the national constitutional laws of a free national government and cling to the name and principles that allude to slavery. So we on Jesus. And before I read this, I want to say something else then because I'm going to say in our 101 questions, I just mentioned this. It said, will you give in brief the line genealogy through which Jesus came? And when you begin to talk about the line genealogy through which Jesus came, you're talking about Abraham. I told you Abraham wasn't always Abraham. He first was Abraham. I tell you about his two brothers. See? So we have to look at all these things because this came from your father and mother. This wasn't in Europe. The only thing that they have in Europe is wheat and hay. They got to give back. That's why the book said give back to Caesar what belonged to Caesar. But we done saved a lot of people. A lot of people done took off credit. Look at it. Look what's going on in the churches and everything. That's why in the Moorish Temple of America, the reason why the prophet gave us certain books and chapters and things to learn and be familiar with, so you ain't got to worry about somebody telling you this is how I go or that's how I go. All you have to do is exercise your five senses. You got five senses. Hear, smell, taste, hear, smell. Exercise your own five senses. Because I'm going to tell you, I come to find out, and I tried to live this, the only way that I'm going to elevate, I got to give up the things of the world. I can't serve two masters. If you talking about getting close to Allah, because he say a many are called and a few are chosen. Let me reiterate that. He said many are called, but a few are chosen. And if you're not chosen, then you're sent. And this is what transpired with Drew Ali all the way back in the day. This is what took place with the prophet back in the day. He was sent. And the troubles started. But let me read this chapter because I'm teaching. It said, Jesus himself was of the true blood of the ancient Canaanites and Moabites and inhabitants of Africa. Did you hear that? And the inhabitants of Africa. But you done took my Jesus and you done took his name. You done took everything. And Drew Ali telling us that we talking about the inhabitants of Africa. But you done took that. You done took it and took it over Europe. You see? So let's go here. It said, then Europe had peace for a long time until Muhammad I came upon the scene to fulfill the works of Jesus. See, Jesus, Muhammad. Muhammad is a prophet. Jesus is a prophet. I told you that when you say Jesus and Drew Ali, you just talking about Drew Ali coming again. Because Jesus and Drew Ali are one. Because they from the house of David, the bloodline. We're talking about King David. We're talking about Solomon. We're talking about Hezekiah. See, but now when we go back to Hezekiah and Solomon, this is before Jesus. That's what made Jesus so sharp. Jesus was a sharp dude, man. Even where he wore sandals was different than everybody else's. But see, he got his wisdom from Abraham. Boaz by Ruth. Jesse, Ruth the Moabite. Moorish Americans are descendants of the ancient Moabite who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. I remember in 570 when Muhammad founded and everybody started praying. We was praying too. But in this Arab time, you see what I mean? I prostrate every day. But in this Arab time, you can do that on your own. When we stand up right now and pray for what them Europeans did to us. You know what I mean? You better keep your eyes open. But you already brought that to us. In this era of time, there was a need for Allah to send us another prophet to redeem us from our sinful ways and to warn us of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. Something that took place during the advent of slavery that never took place with mankind. They just came and just took it. And we fell victim because we started doing the same thing that the European was doing. And that's why we fell the way that we fell. That's why when I joined the temple, and we talking to the Grand Sheik James Lynch-Bey, who's out of Baltimore, he gave Moors instructions that when you joined us at Preparation Center, you couldn't mess with no homosexuals. You couldn't go in your woman in the visiting room. What you need to do is get a Quran so you could teach her. You didn't mess with no homosexual. We ain't do none of that. Because if you do that, then use a gun. If you had brothers that messed with homosexuals, I remember, man, a lot of brothers that I was around, I lost respect for them. Because they got bored of, you trying to go, Mo? Trying to go where? I'm trying to go in that book and try to read something because I never did it. All the back there. It's been like that from day one that we are in Europe. Same thing with that dude Puffin, they're in Europe. They taking on the European concepts and everything that they do in Europe, and we wasn't doing that. I remember I was in a jump one time with some brothers, and the brother had a real close friend that was a gump. And he had the gump hitting it, but he said, man, he keep wanting me to keep demonstrating every day. So a lot of time when you pitch, you'll catch. Very rare you will find a dude, because I'm telling you something, the killingest dude that I ever known. They were switching with the boy. And they put it on somebody else like it's somebody else. You just don't want nobody to know it or anybody going to believe it because how vicious you are. We got work to do. We're not who they are. We are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. We got to give them things back to the European nation because it's for their salvation, their earthly salvation, while we, the Moorish Americans, are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and our divine salvation. I remember there's a colony in Virginia I was teaching the brother, just got his nationality card about it. And I used to go down to the colony, and a lot of times, to meet while I was incarcerated, to meet with the members on Moorish Home #1. And we were so beautiful. We had James Lynch-Bey and the brother Loveville. We was all working together. And we had a bus. All the dudes out of D.C. used to laugh at the Moors because we had a bus look like one of them school buses. And we had they was bringing them down to Petersburg every week, and everybody laughed at me because the Moors got that kind of bus. But man, the joint was so full. Sometimes we let people sit on the same bus, and we had a blessing. And then we had Loveville. He was sending Page Hill and them into, man, I'm telling you, it was so sweet, man. Allah's God. That's why when you see brothers talking about other brothers and what they ain't doing, you don't know, because I remember a time that the prophet was forced to make changes. He would tell some sheiks one thing, and he might don't tell another sheik. And the reason why that is because when you look at Sister Weaver Bay, when she put them Cook Bay brothers on there and talked to them, and one of them said that the prophet gave him the black fez, I heard that stuff 50 years ago. When they said all of that, that meant something. That meant something what the prophet was doing. They was talking to us about the prophet over Ali, and she had both of them to teach us and tell us the things about the prophet. But the reason why I'm so close to him, because everybody out of Washington, D.C., they learned about Prophet Noble Ali in 1954 and 56. It came out of the Cook Bay brothers who sent James Bay over there with the prophet and some other things. And that's where it come from. Ain't but one temple. All these different temples. The prophet said every subordinate temple under the Grand Sheik temple should form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and create their own laws and customs as long as they're in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet in the Grand Temple. There ain't but one. Now, a lot of people say, man, I'm leaving it. I'm going to build and make it better. The prophet said, if you need it anymore, I would have bought you that too. He said, I bought you everything that it take to save a nation. Then take it and save yourself. And the only way that we're going to start dealing with these subject matters that we have, we're going to have to look at this and come back. This is why I mentioned that Weaver Bay sister, when she had them brothers, the two Cook Bay brothers, to come on there. See, there's some things that a lot of people don't even know, because, see, at one time, it was Millie Hill, Small Bay, Lovett Bay, and Former Bay. And at the same time, when it becomes C. Crookham Bay, F. Nelson Bay, J. Blake, at the same time, those Millie and them left Chicago. People didn't know for 3 years or so, because I heard that brother say it. He told, your leader told you that. They ain't up for 3 years that it was there, because everybody, all of the old timers, those at the colonies and everything, went with C. Crookham Bay. And the reason why that was is because, in the time of the prophet, they had brothers still working with the government to try to cross the prophet, even though it was some getting ready to leave. You see them get ready to leave and do their thing and get you $100,000 and everything else. But there were certain things that the prophet was trying to put in place. Everybody want to know. Why C. Crookham Bay? Tell me, he used to say, why C. Crookham Bay got that? Well, ain't nobody else got one on, but prophet had it. And prophet know what he was doing. He know what he was doing when he did that. I wasn't in agreement with it anyway until the sheik gave me the lesson. And that gave me this lesson 100 years ago. So really, every subordinate temple can form their own law in conjunction with the laws of the prophet. Just build your temple. Allah say he going to bring it all together. He say he can make the European enforce his law. But stop talking about other brothers and other sisters. And they not doing this in their temple. And I mean, it's too much work for you to do to keep talking about somebody else. That's why I learned the lesson. But Ali said he gonna make the European enforce his law, and he said we're gonna come under one head like the prophet left it. So let me finish reading this from the religious part, because a lot of brothers don't like me to read from the Moorish Quran, and that is because, see, you got national Moors and you got other kind of Moors. You probably say national and international, but you just got some national Moors and not international Moors. So what you really need to do is go on back home where you come from. Because if you ain't going to do it the way that Noble Drew Ali said it, you ain't in the Moorish Temple. You working with the government too. Because Drew Ali brought us a nationality and a divine creed. He said our divine and national movement. You talking, I'm with the national side. I'm with the divine. My prophet brought us both sides. You can't have one without another. That's why you still 3/5 of a man. Because you 3/5 of a man, but you don't want the other 2/5. You just want to be 4 of them. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, but it didn't work. Once you start living Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and Confucius, then your character would change. You would change. Because man today is not what his forefathers were yesterday. Just like some of the lessons that I was going through 50 years ago, I overcame them today. A lot of brothers say that. Say, man, the lessons that I had to wrestle with, I done overcame them. And now that I overcame it, it brings me closer to Allah because Allah could use me. See, Allah could use you, but you got to come to your senses. And we talking about man got how many senses? And we talking about growth and development. So let me finish reading this one more verse. It says down the bottom, it says, through the 10th commandments, the rulers and the rich live while the poor suffer and die. The lamb is the poor people. The lion is the rulers and the rich. And through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, see, we talking about through love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. See, that's 5 principles. We have 5 principles. And our 5 principles are love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. But you can't do it when you want to. Just like we was teaching in the Sunday school. And in the Sunday school, we was telling that you can't go to the temple when you want to go. You can't go when you want. So if you want to do it that way, then turn in your card, your button, your cease your wearing, your turban, and your fez, and go back to the state of mind where the prophet found you. Or you don't want to go to the temple. You just want to get on the telephone and we all talk on the phone. And I roll my blunt up and while we talk, I'm twisted. See? Get a prophet his prophets. Get back to that temple. We bet you those that are out of the city, man, them brothers since 1954. They was teaching the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali in Washington, D.C. They been teaching. A lot of them brothers no longer here and have been hurt because what we had to do, because some of them took the money. They took the money and ran with it, and now we looking crazy. We run around with our head chopped off, but nationality is the order of the day. And like I said, when I was coming up, even when I was in Vietnam, over there, and we were looking at talking about the Vietnam War, and we was talking, they kept talking to us about the Germans. People in the United States was in Germany at the same time because some of my friends were there, because this is when they was building their foundation. Because when you begin to talk about the Jews are those over there. Because you can't serve 2 masters at the same time. You took my birthright, and this is something else that you took. Everybody keep talking about nationality. Look over there to all these different nationalities. All of them light skinned and everything, and all the dark people are gone and no longer there. You just took everything. But yeah, we running around with our heads. Everybody got billions now. Brother told me, hey man, I'm gonna come to the temple when I get some money, man, and take care of my man. But you got $8 million, man. You got $8 million. You ain't with Drew Ali. You just did that. It was all right because you was in the junk and you could play with the prophet and use that and talk slick when you write the girl. But if you ain't gonna be with me, leave him alone. Or get back to the temple. I'm gonna tell you something that took place with me. Just before I came to Portland, Oregon, that last weekend that I was there, I was in Richmond, Virginia. And I went and got Brother Page Hill. Page Hill, his son is with the temple now, one of the temples. And Page Hill, I went and got him, and he was in some pictures with C. Kirkland Bay. And I drained all them people at the colony, but out of all the stuff that I've learned from anybody, there's only one thing that I got. The 1979, the Grand Governess of Moorish Home #1. When we got in there, and this chaplain Jescu was able to take us there, she said, you know what, Lynch-Bey? She said, I feel like crying. Every time I think about it, I feel like crying. She said, because if brothers was around like you, they wouldn't have been able to get the prophet like they got him. They got our man. Drew Ali told us that they was going to get him. He said, man, they came before and wasn't able to get me. But I might not be able to save myself this time when they come. So that's why the prophet had to do things. Here, hey, one temple I know, everybody in the temple ate pork. But everybody in the Baptist church ate pork. My family ate pork. You know, the preachers and everybody was eating pork. and they was eating it too. But that wasn't Drew Ali's concern. Right then, his concern was us proclaiming our nationality and keeping that alive. You want to be mad? Man, I don't eat no pork. Man, yeah, eat your pork right now. Just establish this in the government. So we'll be able to say 100 years from now that the Prophet Noble Drew Ali did his work. Because when he came and brought you and I our nationality, when he came to redeem us from our sinful ways, and Noble Drew Ali done that. They was talking about it. I hear everybody always talk about Murray. They're always talking about Pearl. They always talk about both of them. But I'm going to tell you something. When I think about Pearl, I always think about a couple of other Moors. But when I think about Murray, I think about a spirit that the prophet talked about. Price Bates to talk about it. See? But it's always an honor to come here and talk to you about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, because my brother just proclaimed his nationality. He learned about he's not Negro, colored, and black. He studied things, and he studied to make himself approved. And he teach these lessons to his little ones. See, Drew Ali said, teach these lessons to your little ones that they might learn to love, instead of, hey, when I went to school, I had 7 classes. I had 7 classes when I went to school. You know, I had a disc class. I even had a lunch class, you know, recess, and you had to go there. So when you begin to learn about Noble Drew Ali and study about Noble Drew Ali, then give yourself a class a day. Give yourself a half hour, an hour. Go over your questionnaire, because you got to have this, because that's the only way that you could teach it. See, the only way you could teach it, and you have to make yourself approved, so you got to find time to study. You don't need 8 hours. 4 hours will do. Because right now, many are called, the few are chosen, and the elders, especially the ones that, they're leaving more. Every day I look, I don't see them nowhere. All our elders are gone. That's why it's a few brothers and sisters that's left, and a lot of brothers and sisters, you're missing a lot of blessings. Instead of going and say, can I sit with you for a couple of days? This is the same thing happened when we used to go to Chicago. You know, the temple in Chicago, you know, one of the Cook Bay brothers lived right there, around the corner, and had a star and a crescent right there, you know, in his window. And man, and they just said, watch this, look at this. Everybody, Pleasant Bay, just went over there. That everybody went through there. You with this temple, you with that temple, but everybody go through there, or that C. Kirkman Bay Mall, to get this, to talk to somebody about this. That don't make sense. Yes, it do. It makes sense because everybody know. But what took place was the few that was left, they done built up now. The few that was left just had their little mob over there, and everybody was everywhere else. I'm telling you, we was up there, we looked at it and we seen. And the elders taught us. So we got a lot of work to do. We in our emphasis now. That's why those brothers in 1954 and 56 in L.A., Lexington, Kentucky, KY, when they went back to Lawton and started teaching that gospel, it's a blessing. There's a blessing in that. We all could grow from that. We all could learn from that. And when you walk in D.C., everybody tell me, hey, Mo. Tell me, Mo. They say that because they know you Moorish. Everybody know that. But you all going to make the European Enforcers Law right there, too. Right there in Washington, D.C. It's going to take place. Drew Ali said they put me in a tomb. And he said, then I wrestled with the conquerors of men. He said, I conquered death. I stamped upon him and rose and brought immortality to life and painted on the walls of time a rainbow for the sons of men. And what I've done, all men can do. And the gospel of the resurrection of the dead is not confined to the Jew or the Greek. It is the heritage of every time, every man of every time and climate. So right now, we don't even realize it. We're being worked upon by Allah. The brother just got a couple of deaths in his family. I'm telling you, your relationship with those people that just passed, that you know and that you talk to, have a lot to do with your growth and your development. Because those that you associate yourself with, those that you correspond with, they are part of your growth and development. Now, if you keep being with, what's the name, what you call, discombobulated people, then that's what's going to take place in your life. Everything going to be discombobulated. But when you're around people for your growth and your development, and you see the elevation, you see them overcoming, this is something that Allah put in your house, put in your life. Because Allah done it. We working for Allah right now. We don't even know it. A lot of us think we still around, because we just old. A lot of times we still around because sometimes our good outweigh our bad. Some of the things that people look at you and say, man, he been gone for 50, 60, 70 years. But man, you back and you a different person because you ain't the same spirit. I told you about that song, Great Change. The things you used to do, you can't do them no more. You say you want to be born again. And when Jesus and Nicodemus was talking, and Jesus told Nicodemus, you must be born again. And Nicodemus said, must I go back through my mother's womb? He said, no. That which is of the flesh is of the flesh. And that which is of the spirit is of the spirit. And you and me got to go through the same thing. We all have to go through all the ways of life. I want to reiterate, brother said his mother died. He said, my mother died, and I can't wait to get to heaven with her. But man, you might get to heaven before she do. Because man must go through all the ways of life. Until you overcome these things and these foes that you have to go through, you ain't going to be with it. But once you both give your life a will and sacrifice, then you'll be of the same spirit. It say, try the spirit, test the spirit, and see are you from the same spirit. For man is a spirit and a part of Allah. It is not in flesh to think. It is not in bones to reason. Your flesh don't do your thinking for you. Your bones don't do your reasoning for you. See, your spirit is what actuate and direct the flesh. And this is what Noble Drew Ali brought to us. That's why a lot of brothers that I know that's in the Moorish Temple now, that was under adverse conditions, but while they was in them cell blocks and everything, 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, the spirit is up, and they think about the Prophet and Allah, and not thinking about their next move the next day, thinking how they can get close to Allah. That's what's there. That's what's there. All these things is right there. So you say, I'm going to pray. Prayer changes things. Yeah, I pray. I pray every day. I pray in silent meditation. Jesus sat beside a flowing spring, and it was a holy day. But every day is a holy day for a holy man. And the only strength Satan have is the strength that we get at chimp. Get away from me, European. I'm Asiatic. The whole world is Asia. The whole world was called Asia at one time. Even those that called themselves European now was once Asiatic. Chinese saying it every day now. We see and look at the paperwork. We from Africa. Africa is the cradle of civilization. And I'm so honored to be a part of Africa, the motherland, the fatherland. See, let me tell you something. They said man have 2 cells. And you got to crush the one. Now, how do you crush the one? The way you crush the one is all those things that you're going through. Like I just realized, man, I got a friend, and he tell me you want to get rich, but he got $8 million. You don't want to be with Drew Ali. This ain't where you want to be at. You want to be over there. I ain't got no business over there messing with them people when they doing one thing and I'm faking. I'm paying the food by half. I want to be a Muslim or more in the daytime or just before I go pray. And after I do that, then I want to be something else. Go on, be who you are. You say, man, these dudes over here thorough and these dudes ain't. But if you serve 2 masters at the same time, you ain't thorough. What make you thorough? Your thought pattern. The things that you do. The things that you don't do. The things that you see. The things that you don't see. So when you talking about you praying to Allah and he hear you, in a still small voice, he speak to you, and he who hears is still. So now let's talk about reincarnation. See, when you talking about reincarnation, you talking about the reincarnated spirit. And we are talking about the spirit of the everlasting past until the never-ending days to come. So that brother who just joined the temple, you got a journey on your hand, brother. You got a lot of trials and a lot of tribulations to go through. And man, I'm just honored that I'm able to meet up with you and to hand you your nationality card. And trust me, you're going to be put in good hands. I talked to you, I just sent you something for this little young brother, Hopkins Bay. You want to meet these brothers. Matter of fact, when I went to, when I was saying just before I came up here, I was down Virginia, Richmond, and that brother Hopkins Bay was there. Brother Clinton Denny Bay was there. Brother Prayford Eel was there. We was there. A lot of brothers there. But everybody telling us come together and we need, man, this was 10 years ago. This was 10 years ago. And everybody been working from day one to try to come under one hip. You got some people jumping out there, and we doing a good job. We doing a real good job. We doing a real good job doing it, and the brothers are keeping the doors open. The prophet tells us that. He said, keep the doors open, and I'm driving in. We ain't got no, it's not on you. It's not on me. It's not on our time. You keep saying that you believe that God is God, that Allah is God, that Jehovah is God. You say all those things, but then look at you. You don't have no patience. And right now, these Europeans is taking things on another level. Things is on another level now. It's getting so bad, man, it's getting worse. See? And we got to understand that nationality is the order of the day. In order for us to start building on this issue, because it ain't but one supreme issue. That's what Drew Ali say. He said there's but one supreme issue for my people to use to redeem that from which was lost. And he was saying it is through your nationality and your divine creed. Because you don't have no rights that a citizen is bound to respect. Because you got to go back to be who your forefathers were. Because man today is what his forefathers were yesterday. And there's no one who is able to change man from the decent nature of his mother and father unless his power extend beyond the great universal creator, Allah himself. So I'm always honored to be able to come and just talk a little bit about the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. You know all that, but I didn't. So I'm sharing and exercising my five senses. So what I would like to do now, I'd like to close out with the Moorish American prayer, the source from which I draw my strength. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Wade in the water, wade in the water, Marlin, wade in the water. Drew Ali done trouble